everything's gonna be okay. It has happened before, ladies and gentlemen. People have changed the world. And whether you come from humble or luxurious beginnings, the winds of change can carry you toward invention and innovation in whatever field you choose. Whether that's engineering, like Jimmy Tran, or photography, like Paige Canyon. So dare to be different. Dare to discover. Dare to dream. And as Les Brown said, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Thank you and congratulations, graduates. Why not us?
Class of 2014, you should be proud of your role in Timberview's tradition of excellence. I'd like to highlight a few of the many points of pride in which the class of 2014 played a role. Timberview students took 76 dual credit courses during this past year, earning 683 hours of college credit. If you took a dual credit course during your high school career at Timberview, please stand and be recognized. Last month, Timberview students took 513 advanced placement exams in order to earn college credit for AP courses. If you took an AP exam during your high school career at Timberview, please stand and be recognized. You may be seated. And Justice mentioned that this is a year for breaking records. Before this class, no high school graduating class in Mansfield ISD had ever been offered in excess of $20 million in scholarships. This class has been offered $20,016,509 in scholarships. If you've been offered a scholarship, please stand and be recognized. You may be seated. I'd like to point out that the $20 million is more than all of the other schools in Mansfield ISD combined. 15 of this year's graduates will be entering the military. If you will be entering the military upon graduation, please stand and be recognized. I'd like to point out the special items that some of our graduates are wearing. The members of the National Honor Society are wearing a white stole. Cum laude graduates are wearing white cords and have a grade point average from 95 to 97. Magna cum laude graduates are wearing silver cords and have a grade point average from 97 to 100. Summa cum laude graduates are wearing gold cords and have a grade point average greater than 100. If you are in the National Honor Society or are graduating cum laude, magna cum laude, or summa cum laude, please stand and be recognized. You may be seated. Working in a high school, you learn new terminology each year, and I'm glad that Megan mentioned selfies in her speech. This class taught me another term, and I want to demonstrate it for you. If you take a picture with other people in it, it's not actually a selfie. They taught me that that's called an ussie. I like that term, and I've been thinking about it this spring. And I want to let the graduates know that you were not created to live your life in a selfie. You were created to live your life in an ussie. You're meant to be contributing members of a family, of a group, and of a community. I want you to practice the act of serving others until it becomes a habit, a part of who you are. Learn to put others before yourself. Like your parents, I want the best for you, and you will be the happiest when you're fulfilling your purpose. There will be occasions in your life for selfies, but remember that your purpose is to live in an ussie. Dr. Vajauskas and members of the Board of Trustees, the students who have met all state and local requirements as set forth by the Texas Education Agency and the Mansfield Independent School District are hereby certified to you as candidates for graduation and will be granted a high school diploma with all rights and privileges this diploma carries by law. Dr. Vajauskas, I invite you to address the class of 2014.
Thank you. It's good to be with you today in this very momentous occasion. And I always love to have grandparents, babies, parents, uncles, cousins, brothers and sisters in our audience. And the right for us to assemble like this to recognize the wonderful things that our graduates have accomplished is not free. And we've recognized the young men and women who are going to be joining our military, but I would like to pause at this time and ask that if you are a veteran of our military service, any of our military services, or you're currently an active member of any of our military service, or again, if you're going to join any of our military service, would you please rise and let us thank you for the freedom that you've provided for us. Thank you. You know, running the school district has been pretty easy because your kids have often helped me. That was humor. Okay. There's, you know, one of the most difficult decisions that I have to make is actually when the weather turns bad, whether or not to close school. And as the weather gets below 50, they're ready for me to cancel school because it's way too cold. And they use this thing called Twitter to help me make decisions. And I read them. So when the weather turns bad, I was sitting in my living room trying to decide whether or not I should close school, whether the ice was going to be bad enough. And parents, I just want to apologize because I make the wrong decision no matter what I do. But I start reading the tweets, and one of the students had poured a bucket of ice cubes on his driveway, taken a picture, and tweeted me, "Dr. V, my driveway's way too icy. There's no way I can ride to school." And then a little bit later, another one came, and it was the picture of a man who appeared to be about 127 years old. He was sitting in a rocker with a shawl and glasses down around his nose. Appeared to, you know, a little bit of drool on the shirt. And the caption was, "This is Dr. V trying to decide whether to close school." Somebody help this man. So your students have been very helpful to me, and I was thinking about what I would say to them, and I feel a special kindred relationship with the parents because I've had 3 boys. Some have gone off to college, some have come home. and lived with us for part of the time. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to give your children that were helpful to me, so I'm going to help them figure out what's the best way to come back and live with you when they go off to college. So I'm just going to give them some suggestions, if that's okay. And first off, I want them to know that it's probably going to look a little bit different. Mom's going to sell the minivan and buy a convertible. Dad's probably going to turn your room into a man cave, but that's okay. So here's what I want you to know. If you're going to come home or if you're going to live home, call first. Now that you're gone, Mom and Dad have time to date again. And we may be out on a romantic date, so you need to call first to make sure that we're there. When you come home, you get to bring a maximum of 2 loads of laundry. Any more than that creates mommy overtime on the laundry, and she gets time and a half for that. The kitchen closes at 8, and not everything in the refrigerator belongs to you. Our house, our rules, it doesn't matter if you're 18, 20, or 30, the curfew still applies. And then finally, and this has special meaning for me, if you borrow Dad's car, and we get in it the next day and the gas light is on and our seat's been moved, it makes us crazy. So stop by QT and put a little bit of that $20 million worth of scholarships maybe into my basket. As an English teacher, I taught English for 20 years, and I used to love my students I asked the question, I had them do the essay, and I would ask them, tell me about where you're going to be in 5 or 10 years, something like that. And 2 common themes permeated through those essays. The students knew that in 10 years after graduation, they were going to be rich and they were going to have married a supermodel. And so I, as my message to your children, would just like to say that rich can mean more than money. Rich can mean friends, it can mean faith, it can mean making the world a better place, and it can mean that special relationship with your family. The supermodel, well, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What you see, if you perceive it to be beautiful, it will be. And beauty is what's on the inside and not the outside. So students, here is my prayer for you. I hope that you will live a life that is rich with friends that you know and have for a very long time. I hope that you have a rich and deep, abiding faith. I hope that you experience the richness of making a contribution to our world and making someone's path who's a little bit less fortunate than you a little bit easier in this thing called life. I hope that you have a family that loves you and that you can pass on the traditions of your family. I hope that you know beauty when you see it, and I hope most of all that you look inside one's heart for the beauty that is there in all of us. These are the things that I wish for you. I am proud to be your superintendent. I love going to Timberview High School. I spend a lot of time there. I love going to the games, to activities there, and I just want you to know you have wonderful kids, and this is an exceptional class. So now let us move on to the reason that we are here tonight. On this day, June 7th, 2014, and in this place, the Claude H. Cunningham Performance Hall in the Mansfield ISD Center for Performing Arts, I concur with the recommendation of Mr. Darrell Douglas that these students who have successfully completed the course of study as outlined by the Texas Education Agency and delivered by the faculty and staff of Timberview High School are qualified to graduate. Therefore, with authority vested in me as superintendent by the Texas Education Agency, the state of Texas, and our wonderful school board, I hereby certify you as graduates of Timberview High School.